Good morning, everybody. It is a Tuesday. Monday is over with, so you can't have the Monday blues anymore. I don't think I ever get the Monday blues because I carry it all through the week. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what I do. But um, today I have what I consider a very special guest. This lady has been very dear to our family. We met her, I think, a year and a half ago now. It's been almost maybe 2 years now. We went out to where she's at in a place called Marble, Washington. And if you want to ever experience what life will be like when the system crashes, go out to Marble, Washington. It is beautiful out there. Um, you get to just be people with no requirements other than be nice. And it's kind of cool. Um, so she reached out and said she wanted to be part of the Journey series, and today is her day. Her name is Langley Davis, and she will be our next guest. So please welcome Langley to the show. Hello, Langley.
Hello, brother.
I call her Lovely Langley, and she's very lovely. She and my wife are like super good friends, really, really, really chummy buddy chum chums, and it's really cool because my wife is not much of a friend to females. She can't get along very well with most females. Um, and so the same thing with Langley. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you got it right.
Langley don't like women neither, and so they get along great. So I'm going to give you the floor for a minute or two to give your story, madam. And
Right.
when you are done, just say, and that's it. And then I'll pop back in and um, we'll begin. Okay?
All
All
right.
right, go for it.
Well, good morning. Like my brother has introduced, my name is Langley. I am a freedom-loving patriot, but I was not always. I had um, started out very much a liberal in my younger years. And I had a good friend of mine actually say a young liberal is or a younger liberal is a perfect conservative. so, um, but I started out in the Cascade Mountains, Twist Winthrop, my motherland. And I grew up uh, like throwing cow pies at my brothers and running around in the fields and just being being a happy kid. I am the second youngest of five, and it's we moved around a lot as kids, but there's this I can't help but think of the adventures after growing up. Um, I was oh 21 when I went and worked with my godparents. Excuse me, my godparents in Arizona at the Isaiah Project in Quartzsite, Arizona. And we were reaching out to transient hippies um, and uh, runaways and whatnot, and just giving them an opportunity to eat, wash up, and learn about Jesus, and just loving them back to life. I didn't know at that time that I was not very close to the Lord, given that I thought I was doing God's work, but I was so lost. There was this, I was about 21. I came back from that adventure from Arizona, and um, I had fallen in love with a very good friend, family friend of ours. Um, had known him since I was three, and he had been diagnosed at 11 years old with leukemia. Never actually got cured because he didn't have a match. And so when I came home, I just wanted to go and hang out with him. And um, I was about 21, I was almost 22 when we decided, or he decided, that we would be better friends than lovers. And I ran away after that situation to Seattle, finding out as soon as I got to Seattle at 22 years old, I was pregnant. And not his. And because that is neither here nor there. But I made a decision, and not based off of my I thought I'd be a disgrace, and so I made a decision to let it go, to have an abortion, very quick. And the gentleman that was involved, I had called, and he said, "Get rid of it." And but I'm gonna be very blunt and open. One gentleman, there was two. The one said, "Get rid of it." The other one said, "We can make it work. Don't worry. I got you." And I'm like, "I don't know if it's yours, and I don't know if it's his." And my ex, there was no way. So I made that decision very quickly and irrationally, not wanting to be a byword to my family. And now looking back, being 37, I'd have, I'd have a 16-year-old. And I'm like, wow.
So, we got a lot to unpack.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's not even a little bit.
Oh no, we'll get into all of it.
Yeah.
We haven't even touched your journey after that.
Not even going back to Jesus.
Yeah, and we'll get to all of that. Trust and believe me, we'll get to all of that. Twist. You've always had a affinity for the real life outdoors, dirt, mounds, cabins, horses, animals, rough life.
Our family had moved to Edwall when I was about 7 years old. And if anyone of you guys know Edwall, it's flat and it's desolate, and I swear there are sandworms out there.
It's tremors.
And I was like, "Mom, I miss the mountains. I want to go home." So
it's always been a calling.
Yeah.
And there's a theme he's asking me to push, but I'll push it in a bit here. There's something that's very, 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 very obvious, and I think you've been. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Brother.
You were the youngest of five. Well, the second youngest of five. How close are you to your siblings?
I'm actually closest to my adopted brother, oldest brother. My parents adopted two boys when I was 3 years old, and so, but they're my brothers.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But I think it's because he's the most obnoxious. And he's constantly calling me. Love him. So
you get along with the oldest adopted brother, but brother.
Yeah.
I know you have a great relationship with your pops.
Yeah.
What about mom?
Mom, she was a transient army brat when growing up. And I mean, when I don't mean like she was a transient, but she was an army brat moving around a lot. And you have to like have this like mask of always always being approachable, always being like ready to like make friends because you're always making new friends. And she says it the best, that she's tired of people and just wants to be home alone. And so we talk, but it's always me calling her, and it's just because she lives on the phone.
I got you.
Yeah. For work.
After the events with the abortion,
Yeah.
what was your next step in life?
Honestly, I did this like in my brain, that was all I was worth. So my body count went through the roof. And I was, I actually did a post last night, and calling a spade a spade. I was a predator. Like, no one was safe. And it was more of my own trying to find validation and trying to find acceptance and trying to find someone to love me. I was a predator. And interesting enough, after he had passed away at 25. He and I continued back and forth. After he passed away, my brother, I'm gonna say bruzin, my brother cousin, he came and lived with us so many times. Caleb, he passed away. Then my brother passed away, and I realized at my brother's funeral I was not grieving for my brother, and I was like, what's wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. And my mother, I remember calling my mom and going, what? I don't know what's going on. And she goes, well, you need Jesus. Like, sure, simple, you need Jesus. And I'm like, she said, Langley, let's how about you go into the discipleship in Spokane, the Spokane Dream Center. And I'm like, I don't need that. I know my Bible. I'm a, good person. No, my heart was ripped in half, and I honestly was living two different lives back and forth. And so I went into discipleship, and even in the discipleship, I was looking to be a Martha and do everything for everyone else and try to hide. I was doing exactly what I was doing out in the world, but I was doing it in the discipleship. And how do I explain that?
Bluntly?
Instead of prostituting myself, not literally, but to get away from my own brain, I was helping girls with their problems. I was running away from my head or my heart. I did not want to be alone. And I remember befriending this one gal who was completely a loner. I thought that she had outcasted herself. And I remember sitting down in her quiet space in her quiet time in the morning and trying to drink coffee with her. And finally, after about 2 weeks, we had a meeting with my house mom, and my house mom's like, Langley, will you please come in to my office? And this gal was there, Denise, and Denise looked like she was ready to explode. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, Langley, just take a second, let Denise talk. Denise, tell us what's wrong. And she goes, she's driving me insane. I can't stand it. Every time I try to like have a quiet moment, she's there. She's in my space. I can't have my space with God if she's there. And I'm like, it crushed me. And she's like, Langley, do you see that you're interrupting her space with God? And I'm like, I remember leaving that meeting, just bawling my eyes out. being completely crushed, feeling rejected again. Because this is, all I could hear was, I think we were better friends than we were lovers. The same thing that Dove had said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I remember going out and sitting on the steps and going, God, is anyone ever going to love me? Is anyone ever going to love me? I'm alone. And I was bawling out to him, and I had my head in my hands. I was in this little alcove to walk down these steps, and I'm sobbing, like ugly crying, bad, like snot and everything. And I felt two arms wrap around me, and I heard the words, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And it was like a wash over my head and down, and all I could feel was this water going over me, these arms around me, and then the water draining off my legs like a waterfall. And I'm like, whoa.
Did you believe it?
Oh, it's hard for me to grasp and understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I still fight with that a lot.
I know, and that's the part that that's why I'm saying we'll get to that.
You get it? You get it, little girl.
The reason, okay, so I know there's a lot of things that happened to you,
Yeah.
including getting into the world's culture and leaving God behind and coming back again and going back and coming back. But I want to kind of
Do it.
pin something down. One, I have questions about it, but two, he wants me to kind of poke that bear for a little bit. In what situations do you think you have found the most occurrences of God showing up? How would you describe those situations? What would the prevailing theme be of those situations when you found the most apparent, presence of God?
I can't help but think of just like Daniel in the lion's den moments. Okay. Like I am so broken and so lost, and I'm like, what?
How soon after that do you lose that sensation? How long does that last? Months?
I don't know if
Before okay.
It's not like I'm distinctly aware that he's always there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's having that trust, and that's let's call you the proverbial hammer because that nail's been hit. I think it's that one. I remember being a little girl at church and thinking, it was hellfire and brimstone,
Mm-hmm.
and end of days talk, Pentecostal charismatic church, and so everyone else is going to hell. But and I remember grieving as a little girl when they talk about heaven, and my mom's like, why? It's going to be great. And I was like, because I want to be a mom. I want to be, I don't want to go to heaven until I have a husband and experience life. And I can't help but think of that saying, God delights in man fully alive. I don't remember who said it, and I'm like, we're supposed to live this life as a gift and live it to a full extent, and be grateful, and so that conflicting spirit of, oh, in the end, it's going to be better. Well, aren't we supposed to live here now, heaven on earth, ushering the kingdom of heaven in now?
Is if that's what you believe, then doesn't that kind of negate the fact that he told you to die?
What?
Doesn't it negate the fact that he told you we have to die?
Oh, die to ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't be creating something in your life if you don't have it.
Yeah.
You see, we like to do things inversely to God, always inversely. I'm going to live my life to make sure that heaven's up. No, you don't have a life to live. He told you specifically to give it up because it's worthless. And so how can you possibly live something out to act like heaven when you have zero heaven in you to act out?
I see.
Now to what I was supposed to be harping on at the beginning. We've had conversations before about your want to be part of nucleus outside of a single woman's life.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you've made the correlation yet or seen the call in you of the love for the wilderness and for the wild, and not seen that when Jesus had to retreat, he went into, okay? When he needed to get Israel's attention, he sent them into the wilderness. We like to run from the wilderness because in the wilderness we can't have any support. In the wilderness there is nothing to depend upon outside of the wilderness itself. Whatever the wilderness gives you is what you have. The spiritual wilderness is only what he gives you. We don't like that because we're not trusting enough of him giving what we think we need.
Mm-hmm.
Your decisions that you've made have all been jerk reactions because you don't believe anything will be provided for.
Yeah.
You called man to find out whether or not they can support something. And based on their half and half decisions, you made an emotional one.
Oh yeah.
No relying on God. And since then, from the pattern I've seen, and I've been watching, is I depend on God insofar as what I can tangibly know he can provide, but not so far in as what I hope he can provide. In other words, I trust him, but only so far as I can throw him. I want a relationship and he doesn't give me that. That's a portion of God I can't trust. I want love. I know he loves me, but I want a different kind of love, and his love just isn't enough. So until he provides that, I can't fully trust him. How much does God have to do for you to give 100% of your trust to him?
I don't know how to answer that.
Well, I'm sure you could if you just think about it for a minute. Okay, let's put it this way. I'll make it easy. If you had a wish list,
I do.
what were the top 3 things that you want and require God to answer in full the way you want it, for you to think in your mind and heart that God loves you? Not know, think. Okay, not know he loves you, but thinks he loves you. What would you have to fulfill for you to think he loves you?
I don't know how to answer that.
You don't have a wish list?
I have a wish
What?
list.
Okay, so what are the top 3 on
I
your wish list?
see them as requirements for God to like love me, like for me to think that God loves me.
Okay, what 3 things would he have to fulfill for you to fully trust him?
Oh,
Since you want to play the word game, we'll play the word game. Which ones are the 3 on that wish list does he have to fulfill?
I don't know why that I've always put children before being married, but
Mhm.
yet I always had this like I'm not gonna have children without being married. But those 2,
Because you got pregnant first.
yeah.
That's why. Um,
But
so children, a spouse, and one other thing.
a brand new
A
car.
brand new car. Oprah can give you that one. So you have a wish list. Okay. I want to ask you this very poignant question though.
Yeah.
Why is the request to trust him fully not on that list?
I so have a finger for you right now. But I understand. Yeah.
It's you see, we like tangibles. We love give me this and give me that, and then I can. You hear it all the time in movies. If you just get me out of this situation, I'll follow you to the ends of the earth, God. You know, that kind of thing. Show me who you really are, and I promise I'll love you.
Honestly,
Go ahead.
I always had. I remember making the Lord make me wise to understand. I remember many times praying like, Lord, make me wise enough to understand what you want. I remember praying that,
And what do
or
you think he wants?
full trust,
You,
full.
right? Just you.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something you have to go to school to give? Do you have to hunt
Oh
down to
no.
the end of the earth to give it to him?
There's this thing about being what we do as humans that we liken everything to the human aspect,
Mm-hmm.
our own fathers, our own, relationships.
That's by design.
And in doing that, in likening our relationship with God, we're doing a type and shadow. And I'm like, everyone that I have loved has either left once or has
Broken
failed.
trust. Mm-hmm.
And that's a natural thing. Like we naturally don't trust because of that.
Right.
And I totally do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I put God into that box. And I tell people not to do that. I tell people not to put God into a box
Yeah.
all the time. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you think the Almighty is limited by your thinking small understanding? So
You grew up outside. Okay. I'm gonna paint for you a little picture.
yeah.
And there were certain things that innately brought you just uncontrollable joy when you were younger.
Mhm.
Okay. And it wasn't even something you had to think about whether it would.
Yeah.
The one experience with it in your mind was a permanent joy. There wasn't a question of whether it would or not the next time. You knew, hands down, that that thing was joyful.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever, in any of your timeline in life, experienced a portion of God that was just full.
Oh, yeah.
Why then can you equate cow pie throwing to eternal joy, but not that experience with God?
Oh, I don't. Like, I've felt that overwhelming more than once. More than once.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, is it more than once to think about cow pie throwing? Do you have to go through a dark time to think about cow pie throwing for it to be joyful? No. But you don't experience it as a kid. And to this day, regardless of a dark time or a happy time, it's joy.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Why is it only occasionally that you herald back to the joy when it comes to God? Why don't you ever live there?
I think it's this own psyche thing, thinking that, can I be happy alone?
Can you?
This is the first time in my life where I'm truly alone.
Right.
Which, like I told you earlier, that I couldn't be alone.
Mm-hmm.
After my brother's and Dove's death, I couldn't be alone. I would go to the bar just to find people to talk to, just so I wouldn't be in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But it was harder to be around people that knew me and loved me, because even then I would start thinking, because I could be my authentic self. So I would pick and choose people that I'd never met or that didn't know me authentically. And now in my life is the first time yes, I do have chickens and cats and dogs and whatnot, and a slew of neighbors all around, but it's the first time living by myself. First time.
You still haven't answered the question, though. I realize this.
Yeah.
So, answer the question.
You're going to have to restate the question.
About being happy. Are you happy being alone?
No.
Did he ever promise you happiness?
Oh, no.
So why are you trying to be happy alone?
Because I think that's... I don't know. Trying to find the inner peace of, like, not needing other people.
This ain't Kung Fu Panda, though. Inner peace,
What?
inner peace, inner peace. This is not Kung Fu Panda, okay? You're not Master Sifu, okay?
Noodle, no noodle.
Look, we get to this place sometimes where we believe that God operates like man, even though he gives us the examples of how relationships are with man and with moms and dads. We seem to forget this one line: how much more? How much more? If I take care of the fields and the lilies, how much more? If a father loves, would he give us about how much more would? If your father loves his son, would he give him a snake instead of this? But how much more would? We forget that line.
I actually, Matthew, is it Matthew 6? 30 something. I think so. That's how much more? Look at the lilies of the valley, or lilies.
Consider the lilies of the field, yeah.
Yeah. And that was for a long time. Why always emotion?
It's not a bad thing, but we forget how much more.
Yeah.
We leave it in this realm of, oh, if he doesn't give me this, then it must mean.
Oh, I thought that for years.
If he loved me, then why am I going through? Well, you're going through it because you're on earth, and that's the condition that you live in. I'm sorry, but that is the condition.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't die to save you from the conditions of earth. He died to save you from your viewpoint of the conditions of birth. He came to save you from yourself. You're viewing it.
Yeah.
You're viewing it, right? How, if you were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, how is your walk with God right now?
Right now.
Right now.
That's probably a 2. Like my personal walk, I'm such a brat.
You're like me. You're a 2x4 girl.
I'm that daughter that the parents roll their eyes. They're like, oh, Langley.
You mean your guardian angel is always in a panic?
He's taking Zoloft. What now?
Like, why this one? Why give me this one?
And I know that it's this, like, I was actually thinking about it on my way home from work. 2 things went through my head. What the heck am I going to say to my brother? What is Marlon going to ask? And okay, God, this is going to bring up a lot. And and your wife does it to me every time she comes to see me too. Okay, Langley, let's talk. And honestly, I feel like I'm always in this space of patching up the crap that I get myself into.
Well, we got 2 more phases to go through in this conversation that you may not be too,
Oh, Lord Jesus, hallelujah.
The next question is the one I'm going to pose, and you can answer or not answer. I told you backstage, if it gets too far, just let me know. This is one of them.
All right.
You mentioned always wanting kids.
Yeah.
Always
wanting to be a mom.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna interject.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a thing. I was always the nanny, the auntie, and I've raised probably about over 20 children.
It's different though.
Of course. But yet your stepsons are still your kids.
Yeah, they're still my kids, yeah. Do you hold any shame from the abortion?
I don't think I do. I know that I did. Oh, I did so hard. When the realization of what I had done years down the road, I'm like, oh, that's a life. I was so wrapped up in myself to not realize, like, I more was ashamed of not getting it, but what other people would think of me. And that is the crux of the thing. I was so caught up in what other people would think of me or label me.
Do you believe in any way, small or big, that the reasons for you not having children now, or a spouse now, or the life you were hoping for now is because of that decision? So you still hold on to the abortion?
Oh.
You still hold on to the guilt?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I asked you and you said no.
Not shame.
It's shame. It's shame. Here's why it's shame. You might want to, and this is the thing people like to do. Hear me out.
Hold on, brother.
People love to do this.
Yeah.
They know God to an extent. Okay, so you don't want to stick for a line with God.
Yeah.
Okay, can't say that about him, but I'll think it, but I can't say it out loud.
Oh yeah.
Okay. When I felt guilt for it, what does guilt produce? When caught,
it draws us away.
And shame.
Like we, yeah.
Guilt brings shame. You can be frank about it.
Oh.
Okay. So to say you don't feel shame is you trying to cover the fact that you do feel shame and you shouldn't feel shame because God forgave you. You see, the church in inside of you is making all of that circle to cover the fact of what you still feel in order to not address it, but holding on to it and still blaming God for the fact that it was that decision, wasn't it? That's why you don't give me any kids now. Listen carefully, listen carefully.
Yes, sir.
Again, we don't want to put it into the term that we feel. We want to put it into Christianese terms because we don't want to say we blame God for anything.
Mm.
If you didn't blame him, you wouldn't be holding him in any position, shape, or form as the mastermind behind you not having kids now because of the decision you made.
It's amazing the racket that the enemy builds, because every single time that I like get my hope up or get my, oh, you know, and now like being 37 in 2 months, every time I think about having kids or being married, like that goes, oh, but you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
But you don't.
Hmm.
Oh, it totally happens.
That's guilt
Every
and
single
shame. That is what I meant. Do you still care? And you do.
How do we as humans,
Hmm.
like, how do we can say stop telling yourself those lies.
Oh yeah, that's
Stop
not possible.
listening to the lies of the
Mhm.
enemy. Stop allowing that racket going through your head. I know that it's a pattern that we have to keep on going, and we have to keep on no
No, you
until it
don't.
becomes
No, untrue.
well,
Untrue. And that too is a pattern that you keep going. This is the crazy part about living what we want to say is a Christian life, but then not living the full Christian life.
yeah.
Today's Christians want to say, I have to keep doing this. This is going to be my cycle. I have to keep. And he brought a question to myself this morning. He asked me, what are you going to do when they take the Bible from you?
Ooh.
What are you going to do when they take the Bible from you? When you no longer they burn all the books. They have
Yeah.
zero history of it, and they have none of it. It's all gone. The written word is gone. What are you going to do? Where are you going to get the word from? His point of asking me that question wasn't so much as to say, who's going to write the Bible again? It's like, why are you constantly harping on this hard book when you have the author? Okay? You're trying to get that in my head.
Yeah.
And then you brought up this conflict of I will keep, and this is how I will always.
Remember.
Okay, so Jesus died.
Yeah.
Okay, to replace, not to cleanse the life, to replace your life, right? If that is true, does his life keep repeating a dead life's behavior?
No.
So shouldn't it be an indicator that if in your mind you keep thinking that it will always be this way, and you're talking about a fleshly, dead life behavior, that you probably haven't taken up and stepped into the life he offered? When we talk about God, we entertain Satan all the time. Okay?
Oh.
All the time. Did you know that he can't pass through the blood? You know that Satan can't pass through the blood. He can't get washed.
Yeah. There's no redemption.
None, right? If he can't even touch the blood, how is he still laying hands on you?
Ouch. I see what you mean.
We don't fully understand the cross a lot of times. we don't fully understand what he's actually done. And we like to say and talk like we have. I'll keep struggling with this sin, and I'll keep. And I always ask myself and ask people now, why? Where did he ever say that? Yeah, you live in this mortal coil. But just like people who push through a broken leg to run a marathon, it doesn't negate the fact that their leg is broken. But their focus is not on a broken leg. They have a race to run.
Yeah.
I have heard of people walking through deserts with sores on their feet. And it's not that the sores don't exist. They're not paying the sores any attention.
Mm-hmm.
We can make all those correlations in human life, but we refuse, literally refuse to believe that we can live a life, the one that he gave us, in full, here, right now. Even though that's when he gave it to us here, We want to assume that he will always, continue in sin, grace may abound. Not shall we continue in sin so grace may abound?
Oh.
Instead of understanding that we can continue in grace so sin doesn't abound.
Yeah.
If I'm always living in his grace, I don't have to worry about the sin because I'm not living there. I don't have to worry about it because it's not my focus. It might be all around me. It might be all riddled through my mortal body, but it is not my focus. Hence, it will not have the kind of straining effect on me that most people think it should. That in and of itself is the epitome of living the life he gave and letting him live through, because you're not focused on what's going on here. Loneliness. I'm alone. I don't have kids. My mom had me at 40, by the way, so you still have 3 years. Just an FYI.
Oh no, I had one of my coworkers say once. He goes, "Didn't Sarah have
at 80?" Yeah, you're fine. You've got time.
No. Didn't Sarah have it at like 300 years old? And I went, no.
Yeah, no, you're fine. She was old.
Well, far from 80.
Yeah, she was fine. You're close. You got time.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't, you have him. I mean.
But why are those things? I'm asking this, not to be rhetorical. Like, why are those things? Being procreating. I know because it's in Genesis. Genesis says,
"Be fruitful and multiply." Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's a want. I always pitied people who didn't have kids, and I remember making this like distinction. I was moved to Seattle at 21, and my roommate at the time, she was 31. Get this. She was 31, I was 21, and she would talk about having kids. She would talk about being a mom, and she would talk about, getting married. And I remember going, "Girl, you're already going downhill. You're a little too old." And now, looking back, I'm 6 years older than she is, and I'm talking the way. I'm like, oh, did I curse myself there?
No. Seeing that
no,
too.
Oh no, but that was I remember having that, like making that thing. Oh, you're past your prime, girl. That heifer is not going to get bred.
Might get beef. It's a priority thing.
Yeah.
Okay. He does indeed give us the correlations. Okay, and the correlations. Children, birthing, new life. He gives you. It's all, it all relates, right? But you don't go to God for the blessings of this world. That's not why you follow God. It's not why you believe in God. It is not why you're one with God. It's not because of what he can offer you in this world. It's for one thing that births everything else. You follow him because you do not want this life. You don't want this life because this life is way too fickle. This life perishes. He offers a new life that doesn't perish, that I don't really even have to live, that he lives for me. If I were a man based on betting, I'd take that one over the other one because one is way more secure than the other. What we end up doing is I'm going to follow God because, if I follow God and I pray enough, I might get this. And since he's a God with 1,000 cattle on 1,000 hills, he can do. We always go after what he can do, what he can provide, and what he offers, except for the big thing that he offers. And that one offer doesn't come with a promise of anything else but that life. That's what it comes with, just that life. We want contentment outside of that life, which means we haven't really picked it up. When we get to the point where we understand that once you start craving or wishing or hoping for something alternatively than the life, you're not really appreciating the life. It's wandering eyes. Whether or not you have children, Langley, whether or not you get married, whether or not you have another soul in your life before you die, regardless of any of those things, if you do nothing else but embrace the life he gave you and follow, you'd be throwing cow pies the rest of your life in that world. It's eternal cow pies.
Cow pies don't make me happy.
Yeah, they do. Throwing them do. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
The abortion, the broken relationships, the drugs, the smoking, promiscuity, the distancing, all of it's an avoiding of that life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be alone. He never told you you'd be alone. He told you you'd not be alone. But we still think we're alone. We do not ever really embrace that life. If you were to tomorrow wake up and a man's at your door wanting to get married, old friend, old acquaintance, old flame, what would be your reaction?
Actually, just had that happen.
What was your reaction?
I questioned it.
With who?
Oh, straight. I was like, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this sucker?
With who? Do yourself? You questioned yourself with it?
Oh, I questioned him.
Who? The guy?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever say, hey, hang on a second, go away and call Pops? Never call Pops about it.
No.
But you want him to bless you with one.
I had said early on, if I can't trust them enough to go into a firefight or follow them.
That's not the
then...
question, Langley. Did you take it to Pops?
No.
How can you ever know? You keep running everything through your filter and your filter only.
Yeah.
While at the same time saying that you trust him and you want his answer and you wishing him to get, You have a wish list and you want this and you want that from him, even if that was all you wanted. Why, when the opportunity is there to go and ask him, is this you? You don't ask him that.
I don't know. I don't know why. Honestly.
Because you don't think he will. You don't think he will actually give you this. You do not honestly believe he will give you a child or a spouse.
Yeah.
So why ask him?
I've cried and pleaded and called out. But of course, like, I don't know why.
Langley,
I don't know
all he
why.
wants for you, all he ever wanted, all he has ever wanted is to make him first.
Yeah.
In everything. First in your decision making, first in your questions, him first. When you make him first, normally you don't even have to ask him if that's him. It's an instant answer. But when your normal MO is to ask yourself first and to talk to yourself first, because I already know God, that's not the relationship. That's not how he answers prayers. Because you don't even know if he's going to say no. You have no idea how he says no. You don't even know how he says no. How does he say yes? Do you even know?
Actually, yeah.
Okay, so have you ever heard him say yes?
Yes.
Okay, so why haven't you asked him for an answer on that particular topic? If you know what his yes sounds like, and you know what his no sounds like, why are you asking yourself over something that he controls? What are you going to do about the answer? Make a poor one. That you can probably do that really good. We can all make very poor decisions very well.
Yeah.
But you're not asking him over that consequential of a decision?
Don't know why.
Oh, you know why.
I mean, I don't understand being I've been in the ministry. I've been,
And that's what you got to let go of.
It's weird because John Weaver, we had counseling sessions and he's the same. It's the same. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why there's such a drawback to allowing for that vulnerability.
Have you asked him why?
Yeah.
No, I mean ask him why is that vulnerability there? Not ask him why you have a vulnerability. There's a big difference. Have you asked him why is it even there?
Oh. Yeah.
The question always matters, Langley. You're not going to get to the root of something without asking the right question.
Okay.
You're not going to get to it. You are going about your life right now, and it's understandable. It's understandable. And I'll give you the line that you have. Okay, you might get mad, but this is.
Oh, I've already gone there.
Okay.
I knew this was gonna happen.
You've put knowledge of God, you, life choices, and relationship with God.
That is something that my discipleship leader and almost everyone says, "Oh, you've got great head knowledge, Langley, but your heart."
They
Your
confess
heart,
with me their mouth, but their hearts are far from me.
yeah, yeah.
I've always told myself that the journey from my head to my heart is always the longest journey I've ever taken.
Oh gosh.
Then I realize I'm getting in the wrong car to get there.
And the battery's dead.
And the battery's dead.
And the tires are bald. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to answer a question here for somebody. This is a statement I'll make. I don't understand how an adult can't answer questions about their lives. Anybody can answer a question about their lives. Not anybody can truly answer a true
What was the
question
question?
about their life. I'm not sure what they're referring to. But not everybody. Everyone can answer a circumstance in their life. Everyone can tell you about a circumstance in their life. That's answering a
Oh, of
question about
course.
your life. Answering a why, not
Oh,
everybody can. Because not everybody
no.
knows why. Not everybody
Oh,
knows.
I don't. Oh, so many different things are going on in my head. Like, why we do things, it's circumstantial. We have our, what is that? It's circumstantial, inherent, and then nature.
And then you have
Nature.
bias.
Huh?
And then you have bias.
Oh, yeah.
But you also have what you want, in regards of what people say you should have, you want what you want. Let's just be honest. Human nature is very selfish. Okay? Hence why you prefer to live in the head knowledge as opposed to relational, because the head knowledge is tangible.
Exactly. Well, the head knowledge, the heart knowledge is so hard to tap into sometimes. It's like, when you ask that question about, why I don't trust, it's like, I don't know why. I think I am. Think, no. Think, no.
What's the difference?
Huh?
What's the difference?
There's a big difference.
Yeah, but what is the difference?
The difference is actually believing it.
That's not a difference. Because the mind can make you believe that you actually believe it. So what's the difference between the head?
It's living it. It's living it.
What, and is it you living it or it living?
Are we saying like Rhema word? Like living?
It lives.
It's living.
We died. Get this equation. If nothing else, we get in this conversation, get this equation. We are dead. He is life. If I am dead, I don't have a journey to make anywhere.
I'm playing that over in my head. If I have a journey, then what?
I am dead. Name the last dead man that made a journey. You ever seen dead men just walking around making a journey anywhere?
I haven't listened to a lot of zombie apocalypse.
Okay, but have
stuff.
they ever done it in real life? No, right? They don't move around.
No.
If God comes to you and says, Langley, I am life, I am truth, I am way. You can't go anywhere unless you're moving in my life. I'm going to put you now in that process. You are going to die. All of you is now dead. Your decisions are no longer yours to make because you're dead. Your wishes are no longer yours to wish for because you're dead. Your hopes are no longer hopeful because you're dead. Wherever I take you, you go. That is the Christian life. It's not me going somewhere for God. It's God taking me somewhere for his purpose. It's not me finding a spouse to better God's kingdom. It's God finding me a spouse to better his kingdom. It's not me having children to carry on my name so they serve God. It's God allowing me children so they can serve him.
Yeah.
Our perspective has always been skewed and off. We always want to think we're making these decisions. The last decision you've ever made and should ever make is the one to give up your life. The life I live in faith by the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. I no longer live. It is no longer I that live, but Christ. If that is true, what decisions do you possibly have to make? You no longer have that life. Like, none of us do. But we don't want that. You don't want that.
How was it for you when he kept calling you to
I
do
fought.
this?
I fought. Because like,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
come on. I don't talk to people. Come on. I'm an electrician. What are you talking about? And then I said the one thing you probably, most people say you should never, don't challenge the man because he'll take you up
Oh,
on it.
I'm not gonna do
You're going to have to make it happen.
it.
Don't ever do that. If you're not ready, don't say that.
No,
Mm-mm.
Tor saying you're never going to do something.
He does this. Oh, all right.
Oh, look at me.
He does this number here, and he's like, all right, cool.
Oh, so remember
Back,
that?
shoulder, knee, neck, arm, wrist, injury after injury to pull me out of normal work. So he shut me down. Knees and toes, he shut me down, right? He shut me down. I could no longer do what I wanted to do to what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
So he shut me down. And then he opened up doors. And then I said, I don't wanna. And then he said, remember, you said to make it happen. And then I said, I did.
Dang it. I
kind of did say that. I did say that.
Doesn't it remind you of like Jonah?
It does.
Just like
It does.
running.
I was Jonah.
And yeah.
But by the time I got to the plant and the shade, I wasn't pissed anymore. I realized something. This man loves me enough to break me down to nothing so he can have his way.
Yeah.
Which means, even if I were to look at it from a human standpoint, he saw my route as valuable to him. But it's only valuable to him if he ran the route. And I had to let him run the route.
Yeah.
It's been amazing to have him run the route because I get to sit back and watch everything happen. But it was a fight because I just realized I was saying I'm a Christian, but I wasn't. That was the hardest realization, that I was not.
That's been a pain in the butt because I know that I've been running, or not running. I've been neglecting to say yes. I've been just listening. But that's the thing. It's last night he's like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Oh, why are you gonna do this to me again, God?"
Because he doesn't want any of you left.
Oh no.
He doesn't want any of you left in this picture, Langley.
When I keep on, like, this is not the first time that I've had this, like, you got an invitation. It's in the mail. Go pick up the mail. And I'm like, I don't want to pick up that mail. I don't want to open that letter. And I'm like, what am I? like you said, the head to heart.
You're
The
dead.
head is tangible.
You're dead.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Who can answer that for you?
God. Papa. Yeah.
Not me. Not this live. Not this show.
No.
But he wants you dead.
What pisses me off, like straight up, is understanding what that looks like. Understanding how is it that I can look so good on paper and people have come at me and, oh, you're such this, and this. But when the rubber meets the road, I get the same answers. What?
Mm.
Whoever is that you just laughed at. I can't say any of those.
All right, so you're not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
Are you a Christian then? Are you? Honestly, Langley, let's answer the question and let's be blunt here. What is a Christian?
Follower of Christ.
No. What is a Christian? That's what a Christian does. I'm asking what a Christian is.
A Christian is someone that
As what?
trusts and adheres.
As what?
To what?
What has a Christian done to be a Christian?
Give up their old man.
Give their life. You are still alive. You are not a Christian yet. You can go underwater all you want. You can talk all the God stuff you want. If you want to hold on to that life, and you have not given it up to Him, and you are not dead, you can't possess His life. No God, no man can serve two gods, right? Okay.
Why do I keep picking that up then?
That's because you never passed it. Okay, Lonnie's in the room, and this is his analogy, right? So the cross is a gateway, but the cross is only wide enough for you to pass through. Nothing else, just you.
Yeah.
No backpack, no satchel, no cell phone, just you. It's wide enough for you to pass through like this, airport scanner style.
I know this analogy.
And when you don't go through, you hold on to your baggage because you know what? I'm not, and then you don't ever go through the cross.
Literally.
So, are you a Christian?
By the standards of
Langley.
You're
good. You're good. You're really good, but it's a very specific question. The criteria for Christian living is death to self and life in Christ. That's the criteria. There is no other. The rest of it after that point is the result of that life living you out. Okay? If I am dead to self and Christ is living out in me, I'm a Christian because I'm living Christ's life. Because He is living it through me. If I'm alive, I can't possibly do that.
You know that rebellious woman?
I see her. I see her right now. Trust me.
I know.
But that fight you're going to have with Him.
Yeah.
And just like Jacob, you might have to dislocate your hip.
Feel like it's been dislocated for a long time.
Or just like Job, He may have to show up and put you in your place. But Langley, listen, this is me talking because you know I love you, right? You know I love you. Okay. If you get nothing else from this, is this I want you to understand, okay?
Okay.
Death to self is not bad. It is amazing. Because self has never paid off for you. Not once has self paid off for you. It is the worst possible teacher ever. It is the worst job. It has always been the worst investment scheme ever. And here you have a gold mine sitting in front of you that you never have to invest in but once, and the return is eternal, and you're fighting that in lieu of having an investment scheme that suffers a drought every other day. Because what and because of, but what if and because of, but. Here's my suggestion. You go and do this, okay? Do this for me. Just for me, if nothing else for me. Go today somewhere in the wilderness and really ask him to slay you. Not ask him why you're still alive. Not ask him, how can I die to self? Ask him to slay you.
To be
All.
honest, Marlon, I'm afraid.
Now, don't be. It's going to be great. Trust me, the freedom you'll feel afterwards, oh my gosh, it's amazing. When I tell you it's amazing, you're never going to feel something that amazing ever again. Ever. When that happens, you are going to get up and you're going to be like, why was I afraid of this? Why was I afraid of this?
Marlon, like, do you know how many times I've been down this road?
Yeah, but you never asked him to slay you.
No.
So there you have not been down this road before. So don't say you've been down this road. You've been down your own road of wanting something else. You've never been down the road of asking him to kill you.
Yes, I have.
What did you ask him specifically? I want to hear what your prayer was. Go ahead.
I had asked him in the discipleship.
To do what?
I didn't ask him to kill me, but
There you go. So you have not been down this road before.
I asked him that your will be done, Lord, in me.
That's completely different. His will be done once you're dead. But you keep holding on to you. See, he can't get his will done. You're missing the vital first step.
No, how much you piss me off.
You're missing the vital first step. You're expecting to experience the bed in the house, the couch in the house, the TV in the house without going in the house.
Say that again?
You're expecting to experience everything about a house inside of it without being inside the home. You ain't even want to breach the front door, but you want everything, all the benefits of the house. That's not how houses work. This is Wonder Woman's jet, okay? It's not invisible. You have to go through the door.
Yeah.
And the criteria for the door entry is nothing of you comes in. I don't want your past about your abortion. I don't want your wishes about marriage. I don't want your wishes of, I don't want that. All of that is outside. I want you to want me come in. But you have to ask him, if this is too difficult for you to do in yourself, give him the reins to do it. I want to die to self. End myself. End me. End me. Trust me, trust me. Trust him. You will not regret that request.
Right.
You're not going to regret it.
I don't even know why I'm becoming was becoming defensive because I understand. I know
Because
that.
yourself is still very much alive, Langley.
Oh, very much
You
alive.
realize you're talking about killing him, and he's like, whoa, 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 hey, let's not get too hasty here. I'm sure I can do
Can we
something good still.
negotiate?
Yeah,
Can we negotiate?
let's just take it
Maybe
easy.
Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
We just like just a little. He will fight.
I've had the same conversation with other people. I'm like, no, when you're dead, it doesn't hurt. When you're dead, it does not hurt.
Try it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't help but think, like, for some people looking at this exchange between you and me, that they don't understand the analogy of why, like, or what we're talking about. I know, like, non-Christians or
Yeah, like yourself.
huh?
Said non-Christians like yourself.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Even demons believe and shudder. The demons
What?
don't die to self. Even the demons believe in God and
I-
shudder. But the demons don't follow, and the demons don't die to self. I will leave you with this, okay? I will leave you with this. Mostly because I have another show to do right after this too. But I don't care how many acts you do. I don't care how many accomplishments you get under your belt as a human being. If you are doing them, they are worthless. They are filthy rags. You are only called to die to self. Period. He takes care of the rest. He lives after that. He puts you in him after that. He can't do anything if you're in the way. He can't operate in death. He conquered it. He's not going to put himself back in it to dwell in it. He can't. If nothing else you do today, ask him that, to take that.
Okay.
You fight it. I know, you're stubborn. But trust me, when you ask him, he has an answer on how to get it done. Okay. Thank you for coming on, though. Regardless, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you as a friend, sister. We need to come out to Marble again this summer, but I'm not coming out in the winter. It's not happening. No, don't ask me.
You're such a pansy.
Nope. Yep.
Island boy.
Good. I'm an island boy, and I'm not doing snow for nobody. Not even you. Okay.
That song just played in my head.
I'm not doing it. Not being all, but.
Actually.
Now remember, you said okay. Yeah, exactly, Lonnie. She said okay.
Yeah.
That's it. You said okay. Now you got to follow through.
I will.
Okay. I'm just saying. You said okay. All right. Word bond. Okay. So, I'll call you tomorrow. We can chat some more about this. Because I do want to say some more stuff. But
I'm gonna talk to Bianca.
Please.
Yeah.
Please do. But for those at home, if you haven't, give it up. Just give it up. It's not worth having. Please give it up. Like I always tell people too, wisdom calls you from the street. Please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.